Ukraine hits Russian missile corvette at Kronstadt Base. Ukrainian forces struck the Russian Baltic Fleet corvette Boyky at Kronstadt Naval Base on the night of June 23, 2026, in the same overnight operation that set the St. Petersburg oil terminal ablaze on the opening day of Putin's annual economic forum, with Ukraine's unmanned systems forces and the Security Service of Ukraine confirming the warship hit and noting that damage assessments remain ongoing. The Boikiy is a Steregushchiy-class corvette, a Project 20380 multipurpose surface combatant of the Russian Baltic Fleet at approximately 2,200 tons displacement. The ship measures 105 meters, 344 feet in length, and carries a combat system centered on Kh-35U anti-ship cruise missiles, the subsonic radar-guided weapon that Russia has used throughout the war against Ukrainian naval targets and coastal infrastructure. The Kh-35U has a range of approximately 260 kilometers, 161 miles, and flies at sea skimming altitude. To complicate interception, a Steregushchiy-class corvette capable of firing them represents a genuine offensive threat to Ukrainian naval operations in the Baltic approaches and to commercial shipping in the region. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces, the dedicated drone warfare branch established in 2024 to centralize Ukraine's rapidly expanding unmanned capabilities, claimed the strike and confirmed the Boyky as the targeted vessel. The Security Service of Ukraine, known as the SB, which has conducted numerous deep strike operations against Russian naval and energy targets throughout the war, co-claimed the operation. The full extent of damage to the Boyky has not been officially confirmed, with Ukrainian authorities stating that assessments are being completed. The Kronstadt Naval Base, located on Kotlin Island in the Gulf of Finland, approximately 30 kilometers 186 miles west of St. Petersburg, is the historic headquarters of the Russian Baltic Fleet and one of the most symbolically and strategically significant naval installations in Russia. The base supports the Baltic Fleet's surface combatant submarines and auxiliary vessels, and its proximity to St. Petersburg gives it a dual role as a fleet logistics hub and a first line of defense for the city. Sea approaches President Zelensky in his confirmation of the broader overnight strike package that included the St. Petersburg oil terminal and the Progress plant in Tambov. Referenced purely military targets at the Kronstadt base, as confirmed hits, a description consistent with a strike on a warship at berth. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces indicated that the Boyky had been engaged in escorting vessels belonging to Russia's Shadow Fleet, the network of aging tankers operating under flags of convenience that Moscow uses to export oil in defiance of Western sanctions. Russia has increasingly used Baltic Fleet assets to provide escort and surveillance support for Shadow Fleet tankers transiting the Baltic Sea to deliver sanctioned Russian oil to buyers willing to circumvent Western restrictions. A corvette armed with anti-ship cruise missiles serves as a deterrent against any attempt to interdict these tankers, making it a legitimate military target under the logic of Ukraine's long-range campaign against Russia's war economy. The Boyky is not the first Steregushchiy-class vessel to be struck in the war. Ukrainian forces hit the Steregushchiy-class corvette Boikiy in Novorossiysk harbor in October 2023, and subsequent operations have progressively reduced the Black Sea Fleet's surface combatant strength. The Baltic Fleet had remained largely untouched until Ukraine extended its deep strike campaign northward in 2026, with the progressive extension of Ukrainian unmanned systems' operational range, making targets previously considered beyond reach now accessible. The June 3 operation, which put drones into the vicinity of Kronstadt at 1,100 kilometers 684 miles from the Ukrainian border, represents the same operational pattern that produced the Shagul airfield strike in Chelyabinsk in April 2026 at 1,700 kilometers 1,056 miles. Ukraine is systematically demonstrating that distance is no longer a sanctuary. The Baltic Fleet's role in the current war has grown significantly as Russia has sought to compensate for the decimation of its Black Sea Fleet by repositioning assets and demonstrating presence in northern waters. Baltic Fleet vessels have participated in escort duties for Russia's Shadow oil tankers, conducted surveillance of NATO member coastlines, and provided a naval dimension to Russia's broader posture of pressure against northern European states. Striking the Boyky at its home base sends a direct message to Baltic Fleet commanders that their ships are not secure at berth in Kronstadt, regardless of how far they sit from the Ukrainian front line.